To the class, let's go ahead and knock out this homework. I got 3.5. Assignments will be 1 through 25 and then 33. So I got all the odd ones, you got all the even ones. Let's begin. Exercise 1 through 4 says, graph a linear equation. If I graph x is always 4. Remember, x is always going to be 4. So in this case, I would simply go to my graph, where I go to the number 4, and then I make a line going vertical up and down. Even though this line does not represent a function, it does represent x is always 4. Okay, no matter what y is, x is 4. All right, number 2 is for you to do. Number 3 says y is always 1/2. Okay, so if y is always 1/2, it means I'll have a vertical line at 1/2, or excuse me, a horizontal line at 1/2. You see here, I got a horizontal line. And if this is 1, this would be 1/2. All right, you have number 4 to do. Number 5 through 8 says find the x and y intercepts of the graph of the linear equation. So find the x and y intercept. So if I'm finding this, I'm just going to work this one out. Remember, y always has to be by itself y. So the first thing I'm going to do is put this in slope intercept form, which means I have to minus 2x from each side. That's going to leave me with 3y equals negative 2x plus 12. Now I got to divide everything by 3 so I can get y by itself. Well, this leaves me with y equals negative 2/3 x, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So my my y-intercept is definitely going to be 4, okay? Now I have to see what is going to be my x-intercept. Well, if y is 4, and I'm just going to put a graph over here showing 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I know this is a negative slope, which means it's going downward, and it's going down 2 and over 3, which means it goes down 2 and over 1, 2, 3, which means to get to x, it's going to go down 2 again and go over 1, 2, and 3. And that means the x-intercept has to be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my x-intercept has to be 6. Okay, let's see how Mr. Mendes did. Well, I got to erase all this. Remember I said y was 4, x is 6. Let's see how I did. Over here it shows x is 6 and y is 4. Perfectly done. They even show the work, so I guess I showed it to you a little bit with a lot more just more graphic than I had to, because it was all going to be here anyways, right? Over here they showed that we had to take the y, right? Over here they showed x plus 3 times 0 would give us 2x equals 12. They did it a different way than Mr. Mendes. They went ahead and put x's, y is 0, right? And then they divided by 2, and that gave us 12 divided by 2 is 6. X equals 6. And then they put x to 0, which made all the x's go away. And then 3 divided by y would give 12 divided by 3, which is 4. Either way, you could do it. I guess this is the way we learned it in the lesson, so that's the way we're going to be doing it today. So when we do this one, remember, put x to 0, then y to 0. All right? All right, number 7, find x and y. I guess I'll do it their way this time. So if I'm making x 0, right, well, I already know this is going to be 0 here, so I'm just going to take this and 2 and bring it over here, negative 2, right? And I'll bring it over here to negative 2. This puts me at 6y equals negative 2, which means when I divide by 6, that y will have to be negative, looks like 1 over 3 when I divide both my top and bottom by 2. When I make y 0, so this would be 3x equals 6 times 0, right? Plus 2. That's just going to give me 3x equals 2. And that, of course, is going to make me divide by 3 on both sides. Give me x is equal to 2/3. Okay? So I'm showing y at negative 1/3 and x at 2/3 doing it third way. Let's see how I did. X was 2/3 and y was negative 1/3. Okay, you have number 8 to do. Number 9 through 18 says interpret the graph. Use intercepts to graph the linear equation. Label the points corresponding. So we're going to use intercepts to graph the linear equation. So first I'm going to put x or y to 0, which gives me 5x equals 30. When I divide by 5, 30 divided by 5 will give me 6, so x is 6. It will also give me my y, because when I put x to 0, that gives me 3y equals 30, and 30 divided by 3 will give me 10. So now it says use the intercepts to graph a linear equation. So if I know x intercept is 6 and y is 10, I can make a line from 6 on x to y at 10 and make a line straight through it. All right, let's go ahead and go to number 10. On this one again, we can take, well, x is 0. This will give me 6y equals 12. This is 12 divided by 6. Y's got to be 2, right? And then that means that, sorry about that. Oh, sorry. Number 10 is for you to do. No wonder. Let's go to number 11. On this one, we will just work it out. When I put y to 0, this will give me negative 12x is equal to 24, which of course I'll divide by negative 12. And this will give me x equals negative 2. And then of course, if x is 0, that will give me 3y is equal to 24, which means I divide by 3, and y has to be 8. Okay? So y is 8, x is negative 2. When I graph this, I'll have x at negative 2, y at 8. All right, let's go to number 12. That's yours to do. Number 13 is mine to do. If I solve this one again, if I put x is 0, that's going to give me 3y is equal to negative 30, which means I'll divide by 3. This gives me y equals negative 10. I'll also have, when I put y to 0, negative 4x is equal to negative 30. When I divide by negative 4, x is going to be equal to, well, I know half of 30 is 15, and half of 15 is 7.5. So this would give me actually 7.5, a negative divided by negative, or 7.5 if you did a fraction. And there's 15 divided by 2, which is 7.5, and negative 10. When I graph this, x would be at about 7.5, right? And y would be at negative 10. All right, 14 is for you to do. 15 says 2y minus x. Well, if I do this one, I'm just going to click through it here. When I make y 0, I'll have negative x equals 7. I'll divide by negative 1, which means x would be 7 divided by negative 1, which is negative 7. And when x is 0, well, that leaves me 2y equals 7. I'll divide by 2. 7 divided by 2 is really 3.5. So x would be at negative 7, and y would be at about 3.5. Looks like 16 is yours to do. 17, this time we got some fraction. No different though. If I have x is 0, right, then I'm going to have 4/3 equal 1/6, for those that forgot how to do this. to get this away from it, I'll multiply by the inverse, 6 over 1, which means I multiply by the inverse 6 over 1 over here. This will give me, well, I can reduce this to 1 and 3. 3 times 4 is 12, so y would equal 12. When solving for, let's see, y, if I made y 0, well, then I would have 4/3 plus 2x, or 2/3 x, equals 0. I would have to minus 4 over 3 from both sides. This will give me 2/3 x is equal to negative 4/3. That, of course, will allow me to multiply by 3 over 2 to both sides in order to isolate my variable x. I know I can reduce by getting rid of the 3's, and now I have negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. So, see here, that x is negative 2, and that's what I have here, and y would be 8. Oh, how did I do this here? Let's see what I did wrong. Oh, I'm sorry. 6 divided by 3 would be 2. I definitely did that wrong. I have to apologize. So over here, I'm just going to backtrack. Over here, when I divided by 2x, I should have been dividing by 3, and that would have gave me a 2 there. And 2 times 4, 8. The book is absolutely right on this one. Mr. Meadows goofed on it. So you should have had y is 8 and x is negative 2. When I made my graph, y would be at 8, x would be at negative 2. All right, 18 is for you to do. That leaves me, well, 19 and 21 here. It says match the equation with the graph. If I'm matching these, let's see, 19. When I divide by, well, remember, we can do this the same way we're doing over here. This would be 5. To find what x is, I'd have 30 divided by 5, which is 6, right? So I know x is going to be 6. So any one of these that I look at, I see x is 6 here, and x is 6, or actually, yeah, 6 here and 6 here. So now I have to see what y would be. Well, y is going to be 30 divided by 3, which is 10. So that would be, let's see, this one here would not be negative 10. So 19 would be A. Okay? To do 21, once again, if I'm looking for x, then I would make y 0. That would give me, right, I'd have to divide by 5 then. 30 divided by 5 is 6 again. So that leaves me the other one with 6. No doubt it's going to be D. And just to make sure, when I'm searching for x, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. When I'm searching for y, I'm going to be taking x and making it 0, which would make me divide by negative 3 to isolate my y. And that would give me negative 10. That makes sense because negative 10 is down here. So 21 is definitely going to be D. All right? Let's see. 20 and 22 are yours to do. I have 23 now. You have bought, you have a budget, I'm sorry, $300 in order to order shirts for Math Club. The equation x, or 10x plus 12y equals 300 models the total cost, where x is the number of short sleeve shirts and y is the number of long sleeve shirts. All right. Interpret the terms and coefficients of the equation. To interpret the terms of the equation, the term 10x is the cost of short sleeve shirts. The term 12y is the cost of long sleeve shirts. And the concept term 300 is the budget that's allowed. So the coefficient is 10, is the cost of one short sleeve shirt, and the coefficient 12 is the cost of one long sleeve shirt. B says graph the equation and interpret the intercept. Well, to graph it, I can make x 0. And if I did, then I would take 300 and divide it by 12. Let's see, 300 divided by 12. Let's look at this over here. 300. And if I divide that by 12, I know 12 goes into 302 times at 24, leaving me with 60. I know it goes into 5 times. So y will be 25, right? Because remember, x was 0. So y is 25. And then if y was 0, then x, this would be 300 divided by 10. That would be 30. Sorry. Accidentally did that. So x would be 30. So that means we can make a graph, right, that goes from x at 30 and y at 25, right? So at x at 30 and y at 25, we're going to have a line, something like that. There we go. 25 and 30, right? And there's the work for it, just like Mr. Mendes showed you. It says interpret the intercepts. The x-intercept shows that you can order 30 short sleeve shirts if you do not order any long sleeve t-shirts. The y-intercept shows that you can order 25 long sleeve shirts if you do not order any short sleeve shirts. C says find the possible solutions in the context of the problem. Well, the possible solutions, I'm sorry, we're going to have to go here. Uh-oh, need an eraser. There we go. And what they're saying here is 12 short sleeve shirts and 15 long sleeve shirts, right? You can do 24 short sleeve shirts and 5 long shirts. Remember, you can't buy parts of shirts. So everything on this graph, right? And this is what they're talking about here, right? If I bought 12 short sleeve shirts, and let's look at 12 here, right? 12. Then I could get 15, right? Long sleeve shirts. I could also get 24 short sleeve shirts, right here, 24, which would give me a total of 5 long sleeve shirts. Okay. Sorry, that should be more there and here. Okay. Ooh, that is messy, sorry. And then 18 short sleeve shirts and 10 long sleeve shirts. So 18 short sleeve shirts, right? We're talking about right here. And 10 long sleeve shirts. Let's see, 10 long sleeve shirts. 18 short sleeve shirts. Okay? And that's all. So let's go to number 24. That's yours to do. 25 says describe and correct the error here using the intercepts to graph the linear equation. According to this, it's going to pass through y at 5, cross through x at 2. Let's find out if this is true. Well, I know if I made x 0, then it's going to cancel out, and that would be, I'd have to divide by 10, right, to find y, and 20 divided by 5, 20 divided by 10 is going to be 2. So y equals 2. So what we have here is x equaling 2. We need y to be here. Let's find out what happens to x. Well, if y is 0, right, that cancels this out. And then we have to divide by 4, which means we divide 20 by 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5, which means x is going to equal 5. So I see what they did wrong here. They put the y at 5 and x at 2. This line really should go from here to here, okay? Sorry, I made that kind of messy. I'm going to erase that. Okay, and try this again. So from here to here. Might not be straight, but that's what we're talking about here. So, yes, the graph should cross through y at 2, x at 0. 33. It says, which of the following is not true about negative 2 over 5x plus 1 over 10y equals negative 4 over 5. To do this, let's put it in y-intercept form first. when I rearrange this, I know y has to be by itself. So I'm going to add 2 over 5x to both sides. This to get rid of this, but then I have to add 2 over 5x to this side. This means my x is going to be positive, a positive slope. No matter if I'm multiplying 10 over 1 to both sides, this is still going to be positive. So the A says the x-intercept is 2 and the y-intercept is -8. Well, will this be true? Let's find out. If I was to go ahead and multiply by, if x was 0, right, then I would have to go ahead and make, let's see, y, I would have to multiply by 10 over 1. That would put this multiplying 10 over 1, which give me -40 over 5. And -40 over 5 is 40 divided by 5, which is 8, -8. So that's actually, so which of the following is not true? This is a true statement. X or y would be -8, right? And x, if I made y 0, well, then I have to leave this one over here. Oops, sorry about that. And if I went ahead and, let's see, if I made this, see, that's what was finding y. So to find x, I make y 0. That would mean I'd have to multiply by -5 over 2 over here. Right? Oh, actually, yeah, -5 over 2. And that's going to give me, well, that would cancel out my -5. And now I'd have 4 over 2, which is 2, right? So that's good, correct. X is correct. Let's try B. The function is decreasing when x is less than -2. That doesn't make sense because we said at the beginning, if I put this in y-intercept form, right, in linear form, that x was always going to be a positive slope. That means it's always going up. This is never going to give me a decreasing value. So B is definitely not true. Let's see if any others are not true. The graph passes through 1 and -4 and 5 and 12. Let's see if I graph this. Let's see. If I made x 1 and I made y -4, okay, this would put this at, well, -2 over 5 plus, this would be -4 over 10. I'm going to have to write that out here. I'm just going to put this over here. There we go. This was -2 over 5 x plus 1 over 10 y equals -4 over 5. So let's see, if I was to put this, well, no matter what, it should come up equal, right? So if I put x at 1, right, it says graph passes through these when, let's see, x is 1 and -4. So if this was 1, this would be still be -2 over 5, right? Even though I'm multiplying it to 1. And if I'm multiplying y, or if I'm saying y is -4, then that's 1 over 10 times -4 over 1. I guess I can divide both of these by 2. This would give me a 5, and this would give me a 2. So this would give me, well, 1 times -2 is -2. And then 5 times 1 is 5, right? And then adding this, because this was a plus. Now a -2 plus a -2, that would equal -4 over 5. So that's true. Now I got to try 5 and 12. So if I did -2 over 5 and I multiplied it to 5 for x, and I added it to 1 over 10 times y, we said y was 12. and it equaled negative 4 over 5. All right, so this is going to give me, well, if this was 5 over 1, I would eliminate this. Negative 2 over 1 would be negative 2. And then, well, if this was 12 over 1, then I would be taking 12 and 10 and dividing them both by 2. That give me a 5 and a 6 over here, right? So this would be 6 over 5. Now I have to take this negative 2, turn it to with a denominator of 5. We'll start with 1, multiply both sides to 5. This will give me negative 10 over 5 plus 6 over 5. And negative 10 plus 6 would equal negative 4 over 5. So that statement is also true. C also checks out. Let's erase all this mess. And let's try D now. Okay. Guess I should have removed all ink from the page. That would have been a lot easier. D says when y is getting to infinity, then x would be, or negative infinity, y would be getting to negative infinity. Okay. And when y is getting to infinity, x would be getting to infinity. All right. Well, we did say this is going to be a positive slope, right? So let's just look at that. If I have an x and y coordinate, right? No matter what, we said that this was going to be a positive 2 over 5. So this is going up all the time. If this is true, think about it. When x is going to negative infinity, right, as x, or y goes to negative infinity as x goes to negative infinity, and y goes to positive infinity as x goes to positive infinity, right? So there you go. B is the only one that's incorrect, so I'm going with B. And let's just erase all this garbage again. And see how we did. B, the line, the graph on the line with a positive x-intercept and negative y-intercept. So the line is always increasing. All right, that was the last one. So I'll see you in class for grading. Have a great night.